Introduction. Obedience of the ruler in Islam is an important concept that has been a subject of much debate and discussion throughout Islamic history. The issue of obedience to the ruler has been a contentious one, as it is often seen as a source of potential conflict between the religious and political spheres. In this essay, we will explore the Islamic concept of obedience to the ruler and its significance in Islamic political thought. The concept of obedience to the ruler is rooted in the Islamic belief in the concept of Tawhid, or the oneness of God. The principle of Tawhid holds that there is only one God, and that all power and authority belong to Him alone. This principle has important implications for Islamic political thought, as it establishes the idea that all authority comes from God and must be exercised in accordance with His will. In Islamic political thought, obedience to the ruler is seen as a religious obligation, provided that the ruler acts in accordance with the principles of Islam. This is based on the Quranic injunction in Surah An-Nisa, which states that Muslims must obey those in authority among them, as long as they act in accordance with Islamic principles. This means that obedience to the ruler is conditional on the ruler's adherence to Islamic principles, and that disobedience is permissible if the ruler acts in violation of these principles. The Islamic concept of obedience to the ruler is also informed by the idea of accountability. Islamic political thought holds that rulers are accountable to God and to the people they govern. This means that the ruler must act in the best interests of the people, and that the people have the right to hold the ruler accountable for his actions. This principle of accountability is an important check on the power of the ruler, and is intended to prevent abuses of power and ensure that the ruler acts in the best interests of the people. The issue of obedience to the ruler has been a subject of much debate and discussion throughout Islamic history. Some scholars have argued that blind obedience to the ruler is not appropriate, and that Muslims have a duty to question and challenge the ruler if he acts in violation of Islamic principles. Others have argued that obedience to the ruler is an absolute obligation, and that Muslims must obey the ruler even if he acts in violation of Islamic principles. Despite these debates, the Islamic concept of obedience to the ruler remains an important principle in Islamic political thought. It is intended to ensure that rulers act in accordance with Islamic principles and are accountable to the people they govern. It is also intended to prevent conflict and division within the Muslim community, by establishing a framework for the exercise of political power that is consistent with Islamic principles. In conclusion, the concept of obedience to the ruler in Islam is an important principle that is rooted in the Islamic belief in the oneness of God and the accountability of rulers to God and the people they govern. It establishes a framework for the exercise of political power that is consistent with Islamic principles and is intended to ensure that rulers act in the best interests of the people. While the issue of obedience to the ruler has been a subject of much debate and discussion throughout Islamic history, the principle remains an important one in Islamic political thought.